Is Bitcoin even worth investing in now, or should you be shifting your focus into the altcoin market? Well, this is the question at the front of everyone's mind right now, because for the past year or so, we've seen this really sharp rise in Bitcoin dominance. I mean, you can see the chart right in front of me. Bitcoin dominance has been on a tear for quite some time now. But what we've seen in that really the past couple of days here, even in the past week or two, Bitcoin dominance has really started to nosedive. And with this, altcoins are taking off left and right. It's seriously not uncommon to see an altcoin that's up anywhere for 30, 40, 50, even 100% in the last month or two. And so if we go and we look at charts like the altcoin chart or the total 2 chart, we can see that this thing is actively breaking out to new multi-month highs as Bitcoin dominance is falling. So it begs the question, should we be investing in Bitcoin? Should we be investing in altcoin? Do both of these cryptocurrencies have room to grow? And that's kind of the question that I want to answer in today's video. And look at the market as a whole here, because we are at this semi-unique time, but it's not all that different from what we've seen in the past. And that's kind of the point that I want to make here. So if we go and we look at Bitcoin for starters, we can see that Bitcoin has been, pretty gradually just consolidating towards the upside. We can see this is a really nice support line. Bitcoin's price has been climbing, but it has slowed down from this initial breakout over $30,000, right? Now, if we go back to this Bitcoin dominance chart, we can see that Bitcoin dominance is falling, and I want to make a point to talk about this, so we will be talking about it. But again, the total 2 is rising, which is simply just the altcoin market cap, or the entire market cap of cryptocurrency, excluding Bitcoin. So is this any different, and which one should we be focusing on? Well, I think in order to kind of learn which one we should be focusing on, or if there's going to be only one winner of Bitcoin versus altcoins, we need to know if, number one, this time's any different, and number two, I guess, if there's anything to be scared about or nervous about here. So what I want to do is kind of zoom out on this Bitcoin dominance chart to show everyone a bit of a glance at the past of what Bitcoin dominance has done. And what we can see is that Bitcoin dominance constantly has these moves all the way from its low of around 38.9%. It has these moves to the upside, then a pullback, then a move to the upside, then a pullback. And it repeats this cycle on and on again. Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves now is this breakdown that we're seeing in Bitcoin dominance any different? Is it larger than the other ones that we've seen? And what we can do is we can measure this one and say, hey, Bitcoin dominance pulled back around 3.5%, just over that, at 3.66%. Well, we can look at this pullback over here, and we can see that Bitcoin dominance did double that to 6.1%. Or even over here, Bitcoin dominance pulled back around 4.3%. Or even all the way back here, we can see that Bitcoin dominance pulled back in March of this year by around 4.2 to 4.3%. Now, what we have here is we have 3 different moving averages. The blue one's the 20-day, the pink one is going to be the 50-day, and then the yellow one is going to be the 200-day moving average. It is not uncommon for Bitcoin dominance to pull back to or even below its 50-day moving average, which is this pink/reddish line that we have here. We've seen it happen here, and here, and here, and here. And what do you know? There's sometimes where it even gets closer to the 200-day moving average, which is the yellow line. So if we look at this and where we're currently priced at over here on Bitcoin, we're not even at that 50-day moving average yet. So is this anything different? Is the fall of Bitcoin dominance anything different or anything to be worried about? And the answer here is simply just no. Right now, this is actually one of the more mild pullbacks that we've seen in Bitcoin dominance. Doesn't mean that it can't continue to go down and become a larger one, but so far in what we've seen in Bitcoin dominance, this is actually a relatively mild pullback of only, what was it? It was a relatively mild pullback of around 3.6%. A lot of these other times we saw pullbacks of 4, 5, or even 6%. So it could certainly continue to go lower, but this isn't anything different, and that's kind of the point that I want to make here. Now, what this does allow the altcoin market to do is we'll see that when Bitcoin dominance pulls back, it gives the altcoin market, like the total 2 and a lot of these different crypto charts that we'll be looking at, it gives them time to bounce. So we see cryptos across the board, whether it's Chainlink or maybe Cosmos or Cardano or any of these other charts that are just soaring right now, Optimism, Fetch, you name it, all these altcoins that are breaking out, it gives them a chance to play a little bit of catch up to Bitcoin's price, because as Bitcoin dominance is falling, as Bitcoin is consolidating, altcoins are able to catch up to the giant move that Bitcoin just made. And that's kind of the cycle in the natural order of things here, is that altcoins get to play catch up while Bitcoin dominance is falling, so that altcoins can kind of rise over here. So the final question that we kind of need to examine is, can both Bitcoin and altcoins rise together, or is it an argument of one versus the other? Because right now there seems to be a lot of conversations that are centered around the topic of Bitcoin versus altcoins. And it's really not that simple. There are patterns where one runs, typically Bitcoin runs first as the precursor, and then as Bitcoin dominance falls, all the altcoins catch up. So I think both certainly have more upside here. It's not like you need to just say, hey, it has to be a Bitcoin maxi or I have to be an altcoin maxi. I think both are going to have very profitable opportunities moving forward, and it's not like one is just going to die out, if that makes sense. So overall, the cycle still looks very healthy. It's not anything different from what we've seen in the past so far, and we're all still very much going according to plan. So in simple terms, I think that both altcoins and Bitcoin both still have more upside potential. And if you look at how far away a lot of charts are, Bitcoin's still relatively about 96 to 97% away from its previous all-time high. Ethereum is even a little bit further than that, because if we go and we look at Ethereum is still about, 150% away from its all-time high. So we have a long ways to go, and I say this in an optimistic sense that I truly do believe that the best is still in front of us. We still have the best yet to come, and there's a lot of things to look forward to, whether it is simply just saying, hey, all-time highs, we're rising a lot, and it's easy to say, hey, we're already up this year, or we're already up a ton this year, should I be selling? And again, I can't give you personalized financial advice, but when you look at how far the markets were up, there's still a long ways to go. And a lot of the fundamental news that people have been waiting for hasn't even happened yet. I mean, we still haven't gotten a single Bitcoin ETF approval, and the markets are doing great. We still haven't had the Bitcoin halving, the markets are doing great. There's all these projects that were funded and building in the bear market that are yet to launch, and the market's still doing really, really well for itself this year. So there's a lot of exciting things to look at here, and I kind of wanted to settle this argument of it has to be Bitcoin versus altcoins, because I think both are going to present really solid opportunities, and those opportunities might come at different times. So if you did like this video, all that we ask over here is that you consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to check out more of our content, not only can you scroll through the YouTube channel, but you can also check out the link in the description down below, where we got a ton more content that you can unlock and check out and see if that's something for you as well. But that being said, everyone, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.